Hello everyone. In this video I'll be talking to you about Vibrio cholera. I use this drawing to make it easier for you to study. Let's get started. Here we have a fish, and the mouth of the fish is referring to the letter V, which the word Vibrio cholera starts with. Okay, here we have the eye of the fish with the sign positive, which means it is oxidase positive. The teeth of the fish are referring to the sign negative, so it's a gram-negative bacteria. The fish has one tail. Also, this type of bacteria has polar flagellate tail. And the word fish starts with F. That helps you to remember that this type of bacteria is facultative anaerobes, okay? I have done those two lines to help you remember that Vibrio cholera lives in a non-halophilic environment, like a river, but cannot survive in sea, for example, or ocean, because it cannot stand the salt. It can't live there. This is the only type of Vibrio that cannot survive in a salty environment, or it's the only one that is non-halophilic, okay? Now, let's talk about the serogroups. According to the O antigen found in the lipopolysaccharide, there is 200 serogroups of this type of bacteria. Only O1 and O139 are toxogenic, okay? Here we have a further classification of O1 serotypes. Here we have two biotypes of O1 serotype. Here we have a classical and LTOR. Each of classical and LTOR are further divided into Ogawa, Inaba, and Hikushima. Hopefully I pronounced them the right way. Please excuse my rusty language. Now, let's take two important information that biotypes are based on differences in biochemical reaction, while serotypes are based on the differences of O antigen structure of their polysaccharide. We've been through this. That we have serogroups. The serogroups depend on the type of O antigen which find on the lipopolysaccharide. How many type of O antigen we have in the Vibrio cholera? We have 200 type. The toxogenics are only two. Here we have O1 and O139. Okay. Transmission, fecal oral transmission, and please remember that cholera tends to spread due to poor sanitation and overcrowding. Okay, now let's talk about cholera toxin, right? Cholera toxin causes intestinal infection. Now let's go into the details with the intestinal infection. It causes watery diarrhea and secretory diarrhea. The symptoms of watery and secretory diarrhea. Here we have massive watery diarrhea, but there is a very important information that with no neutrophil and RBC. Why we don't have any neutrophil, any RBC? Now I will go through this and I will explain for you why there is no neutrophil or RBC. Okay, also the symptoms, there will be a huge fluid loss from the body. The stool will changes to rice water stool.com. What's the meaning of .com? It means colorless, odorless, but with mucus, okay? This is the reference of .com. Also could lead to death due to dehydration, hypovolemic shock, and electrolyte imbalance. Now let's get this into more details and more information, okay? Here we have the cholera toxin increases the cyclic AMP production, which leads to secretion of chloride, potassium, and water by carbs, the different type of important minerals. Now let's talk about each one and their consequences, okay? Now let's start with bicarbs. Losing bicarbs will lead to losing their buffering capacity. It will give in a result a metabolic acidosis. Yes, it will, unfortunately. Also, it will prevent absorption of water from the brush border. This is also helps into dehydration. Yeah, the signs of the dehydration decreased intravenous volume, hypokalemia, and severe metabolic acidosis that we've already been through. Also, the losing of potassium will lead to absolutely hypokalemia. All of these events will lead to cardiac and renal failure and almost no urine production. This person is severely losing fluids, okay? And there's an very, very, very important information as a medical student you have to keep in mind. In this type of cases, you cannot take a sample, wait for the lab for the result, know what causes the dehydration. No, you are in emergency. So the diagnosis will be severe dehydration, severe water diarrhea, but you have to give fluid replacement before diagnosis because this is a very serious case. You can't wait for the results, okay? The treatment. Here we have oral, okay? Oral and intravenous rehydration, antimicrobial therapy, and you have to know that the incubation period from 1 to 3 days, okay? The pH that the bacteria can stand is from 7 to 9. Therefore, it has shorter incubation period in case of high gastric pH. The higher gastric pH, the shorter incubation period, because the more suitable situation for it to survive. I hope you got it. Okay, here we have the effective dose. And now a quick revision or some few information that you have to keep in mind as we've been through from the beginning of the video. I used this drawing to describe this type of bacteria. This is the eye, oxidase positive. The mouth here, the last one was V, but this one is like C. The mouth is catalase positive. We have 2 positive and 1 negative, and it is a gram negative from the teeth. One tail, polar flagella. The word fish starts with F, so it is a facultative anaerobe, okay? The virulence factor, actually it was quite hard for me to describe the virulence factor in one drawing, but I did my best. Hopefully you got it. Okay, here we have a person is holding a knife, okay? Here we have a mucinase pili, this little like a baby hair. Yeah, this is pili, this is flagella, and this one is cholera toxin, which is exotoxin. Okay, that's all for Vibrio cholera. Please excuse my rusty language. I did my best. I tried to do all the drawings and use mnemonics and to make it easier for you to study. And I hope this video is useful for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.